Come on, you stupid piece of garbage. What's wrong with you, you dumb car? Jeez, what is the problem? What you're thinking right now is that this world needs another video series of some idiot in his home workshop working on his cars telling you how great they are. You're a lucky aardvark because this is that. This is Cooper Heavy Industries, and I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about how to work on my cars. The first thing you need to be aware of is this car right behind me. That is a 1980 Camaro Z28. It's not a real Z28. Somebody turned it into a Z28 by adding all the good stuff to it. It's got the Z28 body on it. It's a factory T-top car. This car I built by accident. I was shopping for parts for the other car in the photo back there. We'll get to in a minute. Put 4th gen seats into it, put automated gauges in the dash, put a radio in it, and took off for power tour. This car is my daughter's car. We gave it to her when she graduated kindergarten, and that was in 2013. And I drive it to car shows. I drive it around town. My wife drives it. We use it like a backup vehicle. It's been on power tour twice. It's long hauled both times it's gone. We have the stickers to prove it back there. And this car is one of the best riding cars that I have ever built. It goes down the interstate comfortably between 22, 24 miles per gallon. It runs 75 miles an hour at about 1,500 RPM. And with the little small block and the overdrive, it just eats up the interstate. Ah, Constance. My 1957 Plymouth Savoy 4-door sedan. If there was ever a car that was just made for an individual, it's this. It's slow, it's bulky, it's ponderous, just like its owner. This car has been in my family since it was brand new in 1957. This was my first car in high school. I even took it to college for a little while. This car has always been dependable, reliable, and slow. Did I mention slow? This thing is so incredibly slow. It has a flathead, 6-cylinder engine, designed first in 1935, carried on to 1959, because why wouldn't you use an ancient engine when you're trying to have the best car in the market? I don't know. Anyway, it's got an automatic transmission. 2 speeds for your enjoyment. Air cooled so that it doesn't overheat your engine, which is good because this is the South and things like to overheat. No park gear because park is for wimps. This car's always in motion. In motion. The styling is called the forward look, which when you look at this graceful line, you think, oh, it's got to be about the front. No, it's not about the front. The laid-back windshield, which wraps around, so you have a panoramic view of your surroundings. Not about that. The forward look is all about the back of the car. This is what makes a forward look car a forward look car. It's all about the back. Towering directional stabilizers, the beautiful taillights to fully fill them in, giving a glow throughout the entire rear of the car, showing you that this car just speaks power, speed, luxury. None of that. This is the cheapest one of the line. Well, you could get a Plaza, which was even more basic. But this was literally the cheapest thing on the lot when my great-grandmother needed a car. So here it is. Now, I've painted it. It was originally all white. I painted it red and white just because I thought that would look cool. Well, the Christine thing is over in my mind, so this car has to be repainted. This car is going to be blue and cream. We're going to redo the interior, and this is going to be a really nice cruiser when we rebuild it. And that interior, never since King Solomon's temple has anything been so completely contrived for luxury, opulence. Not safety, not safety, no, because you don't want to hit this steering wheel in a wreck. This will go straight through your chest. It won't feel good. But push button drive. You have to know how to type to drive this car. It's got literally manual steering, manual brakes, a radio that kind of works sometimes, a heater that kind of works sometimes, but look at it. Look at it. Some idiot decided to paint it white on the dash so it glares. I'm that idiot. Don't be like me. But look at the glory of this car. 1969 Chevrolet RS SS Camaro. Blue chip car if there ever was one. The black Camaro, the Intruder, that's my daughter's first car. The red Plymouth, that's my first car. This is my wife's first car. I'd say she did okay, wouldn't you? Her dad used to dirt track these cars when they were worthless in the 70s. Now, this thing is nearly priceless. Okay, I can put a price on it. Not an awful lot, because when my wife was pregnant with our daughter, we decided to restore it. So we took it all apart. We took the suspension off of it, took the axle out of the back, took the small block that was out to put in the black car. So now it's got a disassembled 454. This car was originally a Hugger Orange black vinyl top RS SS 396 375 horse 4-speed deluxe interior 69 Camaro. That's about as good as it gets. She bought this thing for the same amount that we paid for the black Camaro, $1,500, and drove it home. Her dad and her rebuilt it, put the 4-speed out of his old dirt track car into it, repainted it, and she drove it and drove it and drove it. Well, she's always wanted to have a big block, so it's my job to make it into a big block. Yeah, it's got a little bit of work to do, like I gotta take the subframe off and clean it, make sure it's straight, weld up a little bit of damage onto it, hang a new suspension off of it, rebuild that 454, probably with the stroker crank to make it 496. Put a big old cam in it so that it chops when it idles. Hook that 4-speed back up to it, and then redo all the body. This car has a sunroof in it because that was a really good idea in the 70s, and now we're paying the price for it. So I've got to put a roof skin on it. It's got a couple of little spots that are the paint's bubbling up, about the size of a quarter, not rusted through any place, but the paint's starting to buckle. And it needs to be rewired, it needs to be replumbed, it needs the interior redone on it. It needs everything. This job is the job that's going to take me years to finish. Remember, I started this while my wife was pregnant. My daughter is now 11. She's going into 6th grade at the end of this summer. I have neglected this car. Who's to blame? Me. I have done other cars in the process. I did the black Camaro. I did an International Harvester Scout, which is the last time we're going to talk about that. And this car has been neglected. So now I got to fix it. So I've got to do everything. This project, you're going to see a lot. We're going to do a lot of little things to it, like take the subframe off, sandblast it, stitch weld the seams, measure to make sure it's still straight, hang the suspension off of it, put it back in the car, make subframe connectors. We got to get a rear end. Once we source the rear end, we got to cut it to make sure it fits if it's too wide. We have to do everything. It's going to be a lot of fun because building cars, to me, is almost as much fun as driving them. And then there's that engine. Old-fashioned, tractor simple, 454, big block power. Hang a big crank in that sucker, and it'll be a 496 because nothing says efficiency like big, big cubic inches. This one's going to be stupid, ridiculous, simple. Big cam, big carburetor. Probably going to stick an HEI in it because it works good. If I get big money on it, we'll do an MSD ignition. Simple bottom end. It's already a 2-bolt bottom end. I'm not going to go crazy and try to make it into a 4-bolt with aftermarket caps. It's a stock truck block out of a 75 full-size truck. Is it going to be a 1,000 horsepower monster? No. It might be a 500 horsepower monster, which is lame for a big block, but it's going to thump and sound good, and that's what we're really after. This is a street car. Is it going to be a drag strip car? Probably not. Is it going to be a road race car? Definitely not. Is it going to be a great car to drive around town? Okay, not in the summer because it gets hot here and it's not going to have air conditioning. But is it going to be the car that my wife's always wanted? Yes. Her dream car has always been this car, a 1969 Hugger Orange Camaro. This one is going to be the special project. If any project here matters more than any other, this is it. We're going to do this one right. Everybody wants to know about shop projects. Well, I get all of my tools from the finest place in town. That's right, Asbestos and Lead Paintville. All of my tools, nothing but the cheapest. I'm going to tell you how I've modified them so they work really good. Modified the tool buggy, sandblaster, completely torn to pieces and rebuilt. Same with the parts washer. I built a custom workbench. All sorts of little shop projects that you can do to make your shop really work efficiently for you so that when you have something simple to do, like a routine oil change on your wife's Buick, okay, it's boring, but you can make it really simple and efficient to do because you've customized your shop to suit your needs. Now, I've got a big shop. I'm not going to lie that this is a nice place to work. It's a 30 by 40. I've got a lift, as y'all have seen. It's got 12-foot ceilings. I'm in the process of taking down all the fluorescent lamps and putting in LEDs. That's going to make it nicer. You don't have to have a big shop like this. The Plymouth I painted out in a barn before I built this shop. All of this stuff you can do with a small one-car garage. If you got a nice big shop like this, you can really have at it. I'm going to show you how I try to make my space as efficient and productive as possible so when I'm out here, I can get a lot done in the limited amount of time that I have. Because this isn't my job. I'm not a mechanic. I'm a real estate appraiser. I make more money doing real estate appraisal than I do out here playing in the garage. Could I make more money out here? Probably. But this is my hobby and I want it to stay my hobby. And if you want to enjoy your hobby, you need to have a place that it's fun to work in. It can be a simple one-car carport or a big 50 by 100 shop. I'd like to have a shop that size one day. But I got what I got and I'm going to work with it and I'm going to show you how to make your shop work for you. And of course the sharp-eyed viewers will of course notice this corner of the garage where we have a bare small block 350 4-bolt main block that was a running engine that was completely obliterated inside because the thrust was all messed up. Messed up everything inside it. Cam, timing set, all the push rods, the crank is destroyed, everything had to go. And then there's this LS1 over here, some sort of a Mexican engine. Well, this is going to become a 383 stroker to go in the black Camaro. And this little 5.3 is going to go in the Volvo. The Volvo? You haven't seen the Volvo? Oh, well, let me tell you about the Volvo. I'm not going to tell you about the Volvo because nobody cares. It's just a Volvo. This car is my daughter's car because everyone, when they graduate from kindergarten, needs to have a car. So we gave this to my daughter as a kindergarten graduation present. This car has been mine since 1990. So what are we going to do in this show? Well, in this show, we're going to build a stroker for the black car. This car, we're just going to do some maintenance items too. We're going to get it all nice cleaned up, get it back on the road because I haven't driven it much lately. We're going to work on that orange Camaro and probably some other little projects. We're going to do some basic routine maintenance to the 2 daily drivers. We're going to do some shop stuff. I'm going to tell you about modifications that I've done to some of the shop tools and how I've made them better. We're going to probably work on other people's project cars. We're probably going to go to some car shows. You can give me all the suggestions you want on what you would like the show to be. And I can guarantee you that I'll do every one that you pay for because I'm broke. So all of this is going to be done cheap, slow, and on a budget because that's the American way. But there's a few other things that we need to talk about. Right now, I really need to give some thanks to a couple of guys that have supported me in trying to get this off the ground. First, I got to thank a guy. I tell you, a guy has really been helpful to me. Vice Grip Garage. If you don't watch Vice Grip Garage, you're really missing out. Search him up on YouTube. A guy really gave me a lot of really good advice. I got to tell him, I'll be dipped if he wasn't a great help. And I'd also like to thank Aging Wheels. If you don't love and can't live without two-stroke Trabants, two-stroke Saabs, if you can't go a day without watching that kind of content, you've got to watch Aging Wheels. You also need to watch him because, first of all, he's hilarious. Second of all, he's building a car hauler out of a school bus. How cool is that? You need to watch those two guys. They're great. They've both been very helpful to me, and I'd like to thank them. People you won't see on this show, my wife and my kid. They don't want any part of it. They just want to drive the cars. Now you're saying, how can the kindergarten drive a beautiful fake Z28? Well, she can't, but she's 11. She's getting there. So this will be hers when she gets old enough to drive. In the meantime, I guess I have to drive it. Anyhow, that's all for today's episode of Cooper Heavy Industries. I'm sure next time we'll actually work on some of this garbage instead of just talking about it. Again, if you like what you see, click subscribe. If you don't like what you see, click subscribe. It might get better. Kind of grows on you. But then again, so do a lot of diseases.